A very good afternoon. This is the midday news on Rajya Sabha television. My name is Aishwarya Kapoor. Let us start with the headlines. Rajya Sabha adjourned sine die. Chairman Naidu rues the unproductive session. Informs productivity of Rajya Sabha was just 4.9% in this session. On the last day of the budget session, Rajya Sabha passes a motion of thanks on President's address without discussion. Interim budget 2019 and appropriation bills also passed without debate. Citizenship Amendment Bill and Anti-Triple Talaq Bill lapse. CAG report on capital acquisitions in Indian Air Force. A report tabled in Rajya Sabha says NTS deal for 36 Rafale jet 2.8% cheaper than the one negotiated by the UPA. Arun Jaitley says lies of the Maha Jhoot Bandhan stand exposed. On the last sitting of the 16th Lok Sabha, SPA and Trinamool staged protests in Lok Sabha. Question hour lasts barely for 5 minutes. Finance Minister Piyush Goyal introduces banning of unregulated deposit schemes Bill 2018. And Prime Minister Modi set to address over 3,000 young real estate developers at Credai Youthcon 2-day summit to provide ideal platform to the youth who will spearhead the growth of Indian real estate sector. Rajya Sabha was adjourned sine die a short while ago. Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu expressed unhappiness over the unproductive session and informed that the productivity of Rajya Sabha was just 4.9% in this session.
We all have to ponder over this. Of the 18 sessions over the last 5 years, the productivity of the House has been below the 5-year average of 60% in respect of 9 sessions. In terms of bills passed, it ranged from just one bill in the case of intersession of 2016 and the budget session of 2018, 2 bills passed during the monsoon session of 2015 to a maximum of 14 bills each passed during the monsoon session of 16 and 18. While the sittings of the House as per the year during the last 5 years have been as per the trend of 60 to 70 days, the declining productivity of legislature output is a matter of deep concern. A large number of bills are pending consideration of the House, and you all know what are those bills. I need not enumerate them. During the last 5 sessions, I have had the honor of presiding over. A total of 28 bills have been passed during the 88 sittings, which comes to less than a bill in 3 sittings. While the 3 bills were passed during the last winter session, this budget session proved to be far less productive.
The government also tabled the CAG report on capital acquisition in Indian Air Force in Parliament today amid repeated adjournments. The report was presented by Minister of State Pon Radhakrishnan. The 141-page report has observed that the deal in the ruling NDA government was 2.86% lower than the earlier UPA-era deal, and as compared to the 126 aircraft deal, India has managed to save 17.08% money for India-specific enactments in the 36 Rafale contract.
Sri Pon Radhakrishnan.
I rise to lay on the table of the House under Clause 1 of Article 151 of the Constitution a copy in English and Hindi of the report of the Controller and Auditor General of India, Air Force Performance Audit on Capital Acquisition in Air Force, Union Government Defence Services Report number 3 of 2019 as mentioned as my name at serial number 2 in today's list of business.
Message from Lok Sabha Secretary.
And soon after, the chairman adjourned the House till noon following protests by the opposition members.
Honourable members, I have received 267 notices from Vinay Vishwam, Sukendra Sekhar Rai, Ram Gopal Yadav. I have not admitted them. But if I have an assurance, then please go to your seats. House is adjourned to meet at 12 o'clock.
And after the House resumed at noon, members passed the motion of thanks on President's address by a voice vote without any discussion.
महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी ने 31 जनवरी 2019 को संसद की दोनों सभाओं की सम्मिलित बैठक में जो अभिभाषण दिया, उसके लिए राज्यसभा के वर्तमान सत्र में उपस्थित सदस्य राष्ट्रपति जी के प्रति अपनी कृतज्ञता अर्पित करें, ये मैं प्रस्तावित करता हूं।
सबसे अपील करता हूं कि राष्ट्रपति के अभिभाषण पर सर्वसम्मति से हम लोग धन्यवाद प्रस्ताव को पारित करेंगे।
The motion is presented that the members of the Rajya Sabha assembled in this session are deeply grateful to President for the address which he has been pleased to deliver to both the House of Parliament assembled together on January 31st, 2019. In favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Motion is carried, adopted. Thank you.
The House also passed the interim budget 2019-20 and the appropriation bills without any discussion. Other bill passed included the Personal Laws Amendment Bill.
Interim Budget 2019-20 and the motion for consideration of appropriation vote on account Bill 2019, Appropriation Bill 2019 and the Finance Bill 2019 are now open for discussion. As there is an agreement that we will have it approved without discussion, I shall now put the motion regarding consideration of the appropriation vote on account Bill 2019 to vote. The question is that the appropriation vote on account Bill 2019 as possible the Lok Sabha be taken into consideration. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the motion is adopted. Personal Amendment Bill 2019 as possible the Lok Sabha be taken into consideration. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the motion is adopted. Personal aye.
All right, let's get all the updates. We have with us our colleague Akhilesh Suman joining us from Parliament. Akhilesh, first speaking about Rajya Sabha being adjourned sine die, it has been really unprecedented because the upper house passed the motion of thanks on the President's address, the interim budget as well as the appropriation bills and the finance bill without debate. And the chairman also ruling, the unproductive session. In fact, he just mentioned that the productivity of this particular session in Rajya Sabha has been just 4.9%, which he said should not be repeated. So just give us an overview of how the day really panned out in Rajya Sabha today.
Since very morning, as far as everyone was keeping the fingers crossed that how the day pans out, because the House has become so partisan that no one was ready to lose their own demands and their own issues. And, understand that this is a election year, and from, from here they want to take a slogan back home, what they wanted to push forward in Rajya Sabha or in Parliament as a whole. And that is why everyone was skeptical that whether we could pass, vote of thanks or also the interim budget. So ultimately, the good sense prevailed on all the members, including opposition and treasury benches, and they decided to pass the two important things without any hiccup. It was almost a consensus, passing of motion of thanks to the President and also the interim budget. Had it been discussed, I think that so many amendments might have come. But sometimes in parliamentary democracy, that you have to fulfill the duty that has been provided by the Constitution, and you have to fulfill those obligatory things. And that is why Parliament, the partisan House, Rajya Sabha, decided to go in consensus and also pass the non-controversial bills. The controversial bills, as I was saying earlier, also that there is hardly any chance that in such a partisan situation, triple talaq or citizens amendment bill might come, and the House decided not to discuss it, and the treasury benches also decided not to push it forward, so that consensus decides that what to do, and then consensus decided that yes, we will not take up the issue. That's how it is, that one can tell that Rajya Sabha today had a sigh of relief. And another thing that was really interesting, and everyone was keeping an eye that how it happens on the issue of CAG report, yes. Rafale deal report. And that it was also surprising that nobody raised the issue of Rafale in the House today. Maybe they didn't want to disrupt the House today because it was informed that House is going to be adjourned sine die, and that was high. But I heard Congress people saying that now CAG report will go into the PSC, Public Accounts Committee, that is chaired by Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress MP, and there they will take care of it, that what are the lacunae in Rafale deal, CAG report on Rafale deal. So it is not going to end here. I have heard that Congress President Rahul Gandhi is also going to hold a press conference at 3 p.m. today. So now the war and the battle goes beyond Parliament, and now everyone has come out in the field, and then political struggle now begins as far as out of the Parliament.
Absolutely, but Akhilesh, as far as that CAG report is concerned, it states very clearly that the NDA's deal for 36 Rafale jets was 2.86% cheaper than the one negotiated by the UPA. And, Arun Jaitley there also reacting, saying that the lies of Mahajut Bandhan stands exposed.
That is really the case. That I tried to talk to many, members either in the Congress or in the NCP or in the other opposition parties. Everyone was telling that we have to see the fine print. And, CAG report is a technical thing, and unless we see the report in toto, then we are feeling difficult to comment on this. But when Mr. Digvijay Singh came out and he also talked to the media formally that it will be taken care in the PAC. So I think that is the standpoint. Till now they are not going back on their allegations, and it will be now Rahul Gandhi's duty, who has been raising the question of Rafale, that how he defends his allegations. But anyway, that's the situation, that since nobody could study and nobody could raise the finger immediately that how to comment on the Rafale deal. That is why there was no comment in the House, and outside also there were few comments by the opposition members on the Rafale deal. So seemingly when the CAG is telling that 2.something% decrease in the prices, I think everyone is taking, but they will study it, and opposition is opposition. They will come out with their own viewpoint. Aishwarya.
Right. Stay with us, Akhilesh. We also need to discuss Lok Sabha. The proceedings of the Lok Sabha were adjourned for nearly 50 minutes during a question hour amid a slogan shouting by the SP and the TMC members over different issues. And immediately after, the House paid obituary to former member of the House, Kunji Lal. Samajwadi Party member Dharmendra Yadav raised the issue of lathi charge by Uttar Pradesh police on his party workers in Prayagraj yesterday. After the speaker started the question hour, SP and the TMC members trooped into the well and started sloganeering, forcing the speaker to adjourn the House till noon.
The House stands adjourned to meet again at 12 o'clock.
All right, let's go back to our colleague Akhilesh Suman. Akhilesh, as far as Lok Sabha is concerned, we've been seeing repeated disruptions really. The SP again raising the issue of, some of its members being lathi charged by the police. How does the day look like after 2 p.m. in the post-lunch session?
Yeah, that Jallianwala Bagh bill is getting discussed. This is an important bill as far as, Indian freedom history is concerned. And this is a bill which will delete the name of Congress chairperson as one of the trustees. So naturally, Congress has a much more problem on this bill. But anyway, this bill I think is going to be passed from Parliament, from Lok Sabha today. And if you see comparatively, Lok Sabha had been functioning, and Lok Sabha had fulfilled its obligations in a better way than Rajya Sabha, because the government is in majority in Lok Sabha, and that is why we can feel that. Even if the chair decides to resume the House after 2 p.m, until now we don't have any such inkling or hint that whether the House will assemble, because the Rajya Sabha has already been adjourned. But if the House reassembles at 2 p.m, I think that government business will go smoothly, because the opposition is keeping silence, and they are, I think, waiting for how opposition members like Rahul Gandhi and Mamata Banerjee is also in town, how they react on this major Rafale issue. So I think if the Lok Sabha resumes at 2 p.m, I think they will fulfill some legislative work. Aishwarya.
All right. Of course, Rajya Sabha has been adjourned sine die. Lok Sabha proceedings are expected to continue after 2 p.m. We have to wait and watch. But of course, it is the last day of the budget session, which also marks the conclusion of the 16th Lok Sabha ahead of the general elections. Thank you so much, Akhilesh, for all those updates there from Parliament. And Union Minister Arun Jaitley has said that the lies of the Congress and opposition parties stand exposed by the CAG report on defence deals. The Controller and Auditor General report on Rafale, tabled in the Rajya Sabha, said that the deal negotiated by the NDA in 2016 was 2.86% cheaper than what was negotiated by the UPA in 2007. In a series of tweets, Arun Jaitley said that the report reaffirms the dictum that truth shall prevail. He also said that the lies of the Maha Jhoot Bandhan stand exposed by the CAG report. Let's get to some other news now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will today address a real estate conference organized by the Realtors' apex body CRIDAI in the national capital. The Prime Minister will address the CRIDAI YouthCon 2019 at the Talkatora Stadium. The Prime Minister will also visit the exhibition organized by CRIDAI. The YouthCon is the annual youth conclave of the Confederation of Real Estate Developers Association, or the CRIDAI, held to bring together the future of the real estate industry in India. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Finance Minister Piyush Goyal and Housing and Urban Affairs Minister Hardeep Singh Puri are also scheduled to address the two-day event. Established in 1999, CRIDAI is the apex body representing real estate developers from over 200 cities in the country. It has more than 10,000 members. In midday news, we'll slip into a very short break. Stay tuned for more news and updates on the other side. Commerce and Industry Minister Suresh Prabhu has said that nuclear energy is the answer to the current environmental concerns. At the release of a task force report on nuclear power, Prabhu said that nuclear energy has immense potential to fight against environmental problems and will continue to play an important role in the overall energy mix of the country. The report contains several recommendations on how nuclear power generation can be done on a sustainable basis.
One of the key drivers of energy policy of tomorrow should be environmental consideration. And there I think nuclear energy probably tops the list. In fact, it is one of the cleanest form of energy from energy perspective, from environment perspective. Then even energy security perspective, nuclear energy would be even far, far better than any other form of energy.
And the news from Jammu and Kashmir now, where 2 militants were killed in an encounter in the state's Budgam district this morning. Security forces launched cordon and search operation following specific inputs about the presence of terrorists in the area. When the search operation was underway, the hiding terrorists fired upon the forces, which led to a gunfight in which 2 militants were killed. Incriminating material, including arms and ammunition, were also recovered from the encounter site. Robert Vadra appeared before the Enforcement Directorate today for the second consecutive day in connection with an alleged land scam in Rajasthan's Bikaner district. On Tuesday, he was interrogated for 9 hours by the Enforcement Directorate. His mother, Maureen, was also questioned for some time. The ED had registered a criminal case in connection with a deal in 2015 about alleged forgery in the allotment of land in the area, which is considered sensitive due to its proximity to the Indo-Pak border. Now, yesterday's appearance before the ED is directed by the Rajasthan High Court, which asked Robert Vadra to cooperate with the agency. Today's appearance is the 5th time that Robert Vadra is being questioned by the agency in 2 separate cases. He was earlier summoned by the ED on 3 occasions in an alleged money laundering case in the case of purchase of a London-based property. And Kolkata Police Commissioner Rajiv Kumar will appear before the CBI today for the 5th consecutive day for questioning in connection with the Sharada Chit Fund scam case. Now, Kumar is being questioned in connection with his role in the alleged tampering of evidence in the Sharada scam. On Tuesday, the top court Corp was questioned for over 11 hours by the CBI. The investigation officers of both the Sharda Chit Fund scam and the Rose Valley scam were also present in the marathon questioning. Kumar was examined along with former Trinamool Congress MP Kunal Ghosh for the past 2 days. However, the questioning of Ghosh is over for the time being and he was allowed to return to Kolkata. Rajiv Kumar, remember, had led the SIT formed by West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee to probe the Sarda scam before the case was handed over to the CBI by the Supreme Court. The retail inflation fell to a 19-month low of 2.05% in the month of January due to fall in the prices of food articles, mainly fruits and vegetables, coupled with the easing of fuel cost. According to the data released, retail inflation based on the Consumer Price Index for December 2018 has also been revised downward to 2.11% from the earlier estimate of 2.19%. Meanwhile, the industrial output growth remained subdued at 2.4% in December 2018 on account of contraction in the mining segment and the poor show by the manufacturing sector. News from Rajasthan, where the protesting members of the Gujar community refused to quit their agitation. Congress leaders in the state say that the state government will announce a plan today to break the deadlock. Now, Gujars, remember, are demanding 5% reservation in jobs in educational institutes. Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot discussed the issue with his ministers and other Congress leaders yesterday, following which the legislatures indicated that the government will move the special backward status quota bill for the Gujar community in the State Assembly on Wednesday, that is today. A Congress legislator from Gujarat, Himmat Patel, had earlier met Gujar leader Kirori Singh Bensla at the protest site and conveyed to the protesters that his party will provide a solution. But the Gujar leader refused to budge from the tracks and roads. Now, remember, scores of people from Gujar community led by Gujar Arakshan Sangharsh Samiti have been protesting at the railway tracks at Savai Madhopur since Friday, demanding implementation of the 5% reservation that was promised to them by the state government. The protest has severely affected traffic on the highways as well as the train movement along the Delhi-Mumbai line. On Tuesday, they bagged the Chaksu town, whereas the traffic on the Agra-Jaipur-Bikaner National Highway in Dausa district, State Highway in Nenwa of Bundi district, as well as the road in Savai Madhopur and the Karoli-Hinadon road at Bundla village continued to suffer. The agitation, remember, turned violent on Sunday as the protesters clashed with the police personnel near Dholpur. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Midday News. Thanks for watching.